Well, today we hit the desert in what could be a turning point in the championship. After today's race, we'll be halfway through the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Oval Series Season 8. And it's certainly been a stunner to start the season with the first 3 rounds of the season. We're here in Phoenix, Arizona for the Beijer Building Materials 300. And as ever, it is such an awesome circuit here. Working our way through the desert. We've got the dogleg in there as well. And of course, the scene of Jesper Eriksson being crowned champion just about 6 months ago, but it's halfway through the season this time around. It's myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast as we bring you through all of the action tonight. Here's where we've been so far this season. We started at Daytona back in September before working our way through to Chicagoland. Then we had Charlotte, of course, last time out. The 3 races so far this season have all been won by the Polski Logistics trio. It's been Kenneth Tier, Oliver Wallen, and Linus Broström, your winners in the first 3 rounds. We go to a double header at Iowa in a couple of weeks' time before we go to the Tricky Triangle in Pocono and then Las Vegas Motor Speedway just before Christmas to round out the champion. Talking of champion, who is it going to be? Linus Broström is leading the way after his victory last time out, but it's only by 6 points. Jesper Eriksson gained a whole 6 positions in the championship after a strong finish last time out, jumping himself up into second place. Oliver Wallen, Aronson not too far behind, so Polski Logistics with 3 drivers up inside the top 4. So it's going to be a very tight battle, but of course quite a few Sim Race Sweden guys up there. Tony Uvenen, who's having a solid start to this year as well. It is going to be a whole load of fun to see what we're going to do tonight here at Phoenix. And of course, Alex Aronson is the most winningest driver here at this track with 3 wins so far in all of the 8 seasons. So he is one to look out for, sitting there in 4th place. But we come into the qualifying session and we see Linus here with a slightly different livery actually here tonight as he works his way through. He was fastest in the practice session, but with 90 seconds to go in qualifying, it's Eriksson who leads at the front.
Yeah, good evening, by the way. It looks quite good, that new livery, actually, doesn't it? I quite like that from Linus. We'll see if it brings him any further luck. Not that he's been lucky so far this season. He's just been very strong and he's leading the championship, approaching the halfway mark. So, Phoenix Raceway, obviously pretty flat, mile-long racetrack. No longer, after this season, after last weekend, going to be the real-life championship finale location for the NASCAR Cup Series. Not next season. Anyway, it's going to go on a rotation, so it won't be every year anymore. And it's not the last round of our series either, with still 3 tracks to come after this one. A double header at Iowa, Pocono and Vegas still to come at the end of the season as well. It's really the only taste of short track racing we've got this season. I suppose you can put Iowa in there as well, but it's not really a short track. To be honest, Phoenix, it's just a very flat circuit and a pretty unusual one, really. We'll see how they get on tonight, see how the racing is. In years gone past, it's been pretty difficult to race side by side, to be honest, but in recent years it seems to have improved a little bit, and especially with the shredding of tyres which happens around here, there should be a good race. If we get some long green flag runs together anyway, it should be a good race. Well, qualifying's just drawing to a close. I think Cam's forgotten to unmute his microphone, but there you go. It's going to happen once every season, so there you go. There's your one.
Once every broadcast at the moment. Yes, qualifying comes to the end, and Jonas Gunnarsson is up at the front by 0.06 of a second ahead of the track favourite of Alex Aronson. So that is very, very close indeed in qualifying. Great to see Gunnarsson there. He doesn't have many of his Alcantech teammates like we've seen in previous seasons, but he's got the pole position here tonight in that number 33 machine. Aronson in second place on the front row. Then we have Broström and Eriksson, your championship protagonists, at the front on the second row. Peter Helmbro, that's much better than where he qualified last time. It's about 17th, but it's 5th today. And then Holmer rounding out the top 6. Lundberg, Uvenen, Gantz, and Bolka. Bolka's having a solid start to the season as well. Another good qualifying in P10. Schott and Kjellberg round out the top 12. We've got Forsberg, Wallen, Forslund, Broström, Eck and Erling inside your top 18 drivers. Then we have Leuven, Wallen, Hagman, Skoglund, Tier, Stiller at the back of the 24 cars for today. So 5 drivers there not setting laps. Oliver Wallen, he's up there, of course, 3rd place in the championship coming into this round. Marcus Stiller always starts from the back. Kenneth Tier, your winner from race number 1. So Polski Logistics with a couple of big names starting from the back. Let's see how they go through. There we are, Ewan, 186 laps and stage on lap 80, but the important factor here is fuel will last longer than the tyres, which is always an interesting one, because therefore they have to be careful in terms of when they put the fuel in, because they don't want to carry around excess fuel, but then obviously the more you take now, the less you take at a pit stop later on.
Yeah, they'll start the race with full fuel, but as you say, there will be a bit of a game going on there with fueling and so on. Yeah, it would be very interesting, that phenomenon, if there was no caution at the stage break. Unfortunately, that does remove a lot of strategy, I fear. At the end of stage 1, we'll only be at lap 80, but that's very easy to split into halves, 40 and 40. From that point on, we'll go green with about 100 to go, and that will be 50 and 50. So even if there's green flag runs between the stage break itself, it's very easy to work out what you should be doing on strategy, unfortunately. But that will, of course, also leave you with a set of tyres to go at the end of the race as well, should there be a late caution. So it's unfortunately easy to know what you're going to do on strategy. However, what might make it interesting is excess tyre wear, even more than we're expecting, because the track temperature is in the mid-50s Celsius. It is very, very hot here. I know it's quite a hot part of America, but and it is June, I suppose, but my goodness, that is hot.
It certainly is. We're seeing that we may even get over 3 seconds of pace drop-off, which on such a short circuit is pretty remarkable. And it is going to be tough for the drivers out there. It's going to be Jonas Gunnarsson in the 33 machine taking us to the lead of the Beijer Building Materials 300 here, Phoenix, Arizona. And when we get to the green flag, it'll be round 4 of the Svenska Eracingligan's Oval Series for 2025. It's a shorter season this time around, but nevertheless, the action is going to continue on. And as we work our way through the final corner, we get to the restart zone, and the number 33 will get us underway for round 4 of the season. It's a pretty even start with Ericsson on that outside line. For Polski Logistics, they all cut across the dogleg as well, and up the inside leads Broström, trying to get the run up the inside in towards the first corner. It's a terrible start on the outside for Ericsson. Actually, he's gone backwards there as he takes the wide line. We're already seeing some drivers scuff up into the wall.
So as to sort of road course lockup coming into 1 and 2 that time round. It looked like maybe Bohlin went a little bit straight on initially, but he gets it in line, and so does everybody else as Jonas Gunnarsson leads the field. Broström a little bit loose through 3 and 4, and here comes Jesper Eriksson, his championship rival, just 6 points separating these two at the start of the day.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome race between these two protagonists, 2nd and 3rd on the road. The high line for the 71s, the low line for the 37. So Ericsson will have the shorter run. They squeeze up to each other as we go down this back straightaway. The 71 once again gets a good run, but as we work our way through the corner, the inside line is going to prevail, and Ericsson gets up into 2nd place. Gunnarsson's having a nice easy lead at the front though.
Don't forget Jesper Eriksson as well, our winner last time we were here in early June when we had the Championship 4 final race. He held on by just 8/10 of a second from Eric Blix. There were 2 championship rivals battling 1st and 2nd for the title at the end of that season. Of course, there'll be no artificial championship finale here this time around. It's going to be all natural, and based on what we're seeing on points so far, it is going to remain very close, although Broström is having a little bit of a tricky start. Peter Helbro now going past him, and Alexander Aronson looks next in line.
Tricky start or saving tyres? We've seen a save previously this season that has worked to good measure, but is it going to work in the long run here today? As you say, in terms of tyre strategy, in theory it makes sense. 1 stop to the stage, another set of tyres, and then 1 stop to the end. But that is your 4 sets of tyres. Doesn't leave you anything at the end in case of a late caution. So let's see what the drivers sort of decide how they're going to do this. We're going to see the teammates go side by side. Broström Aronson, the 24, looking faster than his boss on the outside line. Wonder if Fleens is just going to let him go here.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, you raised a good point about the tyre conservation, and since Broström is the one who gives us these notes, that sometimes maybe gives us a window into his thinking. Yeah. Although maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into it. Obviously, he talks to other people as well to get the consensus on what the deal is. But yeah. fifth place after starting up front, and a little bit knocked back from before. But as you say, maybe there is going to be a driver or two trying to go the whole 80 laps, because we know that it is possible. He says it lasts roughly 80 laps, and I do reckon that it would be advantageous to keep a set of tyres back for later on, but you're then hoping for a very late caution. I'll try and get the info up on when the last caution was in the Championship 4 race in June, but it wasn't very close to the end at all. So if you're banking on a sort of last 20 lap caution or something like that, it's far from a guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it was around the lap 100 or so, judging by when the fastest lap times are in that race. And it's just the one caution, as you say. So a very calm race last time out at this track, but it's a different situation now because every point matters in this championship, and it is a race for everyone. It's not just a race for the playoff drivers. We're seeing Eracingligan catch back up to the 33. They're pulling away from Helmbro, so it is a breakaway at the front here, side by side. Aracingligan is trying to get Helmbro. He's working his way forward nicely. He's up into third place after a bit of a bad start from the front row.
Yeah, and so hard to read how hard these guys are pushing at the moment, but Aracingligan definitely seems to be one of those drivers who's just on the move a little bit and moving forward into third just for now. Yes, but Eracingligan looks to try and lead some laps here as well, because Jonas Gunnarsson is now under quite a lot of pressure as well. Gunnarsson has led all the laps so far and is, I believe, making his first appearance of the season. He's been here all the time. Sorry, he's just been a bit anonymous. I haven't really seen him. 37 points at the moment off Linus Prostam, who is in the Championship League. That is quite a lot when you consider how many drivers we've got per race. That's quite a big gap to actually overturn.
Yes, it's not been the start to the season that Gunnarsson wanted. He's struggled a bit in the road course series as well. As we see Oliver Bohlin third place in the championship, terrible qualifying, didn't set a competitive lap time, and is now working his way through the field. He's up into P12, so this is a lot more like it, but just look at the train of cars up ahead. He's just got to work them off one by one and get his way up the field. He's 5 seconds off the lead though, so it's not too bad at this moment in time. But of course, the pace will drop off more and more as the tyres wear out, already on to lap 11, but it's a long way to the stage at lap 80. They'll need to take tyres, and as you say, they normally split it pretty even so far this season, so around lap 40 we can expect, but Eracingligan comes to the inside. This is for the lead. Gunnarson's led from the start of the race, but as we start lap number 12, it is going to be Eracingligan diving it down the inside. That should work. We've seen the inside line already gain him some positions, and there goes the 37 to the lead.
You can tell he was pushing hard though, Eracingligan. By the way, he got loose off of 4 that time round, and Gunnarsson almost does a switch back here, back to the inside for 3 and 4. Although Eracingligan didn't really enjoy being on the inside before, I don't think he'll mind just being up a lane, and indeed he doesn't. Right round the outside, he's absolutely fine with that. So he moves to first position and leads his first laps of the day. As I mentioned earlier, the racing in years gone past here at Phoenix has been a bit difficult at times, but in recent years, these next-gen cars, even while this generation has been going on, it's developed into a much more racy circuit, and you can properly use different lines. Beforehand at Phoenix, you really couldn't go very high through 1 and 2 at all. You'd get out of the line and you'd go nowhere, but as we just saw there, it's very feasible now to run quite high through 1 and 2, even despite how flat it is through there.
Indeed, but it seems like the racing, at least if you want to make it, is very good around here so far. But maybe this is just because Eracingligan is pushing a bit too hard. Aracingligan has made some nice moves as well. Maybe a similar situation. We'll have to find out in the long run what is going to be the best option, or is this just the pace that Eracingligan has and the confidence after winning at this track just 5 months ago? Aracingligan just slightly tapping the wall in the background as well in the 24. So I think he's pushing a little bit to try and catch up. 1.2 seconds off Eracingligan at the front.
It's going to be a slow burn, a long haul this first stage of the race. So only 15 laps complete, and Gunnarsson and Eracingligan trading fast lap times. But later on, will the likes of these guys just move forward with the tyres they're saving at the moment? We're not yet even to a second fall off yet, but as he said, by the end of 80 laps, it could be as much as 3 or 4 seconds. And at which point you're probably in danger of falling a lap down as well. But all that is to be figured out over the course of the next few laps or so, in about 25 laps, when we might see those who are splitting this stage in half start to come in for the first time.
if you're that slow, it's actually worth pitting. But the issue is they've got a limited set of tyres, so you can't keep doing that. Because if you think about it, 3 seconds times by 10 laps, you've already lost a lap on pure pace. So, yeah, definitely tyre conservation is going to be a big factor over the course of this race. Just looking at some drivers making their way up from the back. Obviously, Oliver Wally's sort of static at P12 now, but Marcus Stiller is also up to P15 from the back. We've seen Lars Bolka. He had a bit of an issue on the first lap, and I think he's back in pit road, getting back out onto the track, but he's going to be some 13 laps down. Yeah, that is a real shame. You know, you can fall 1 or 2 laps down in one of these races and hope to win them back again with lots of cautions, but unfortunately, we're never going to have enough cautions for him to get all his laps back there, which is a real shame. And means that, yeah, it's likely a run around at the back of the field for the race, but of course, valuable points to be picked up if indeed he decides to carry on. But it's a pretty miserable feeling, really, running around so many laps down. Indeed, but at least some points, yes, and he is back out onto the track now. So at least some points potentially coming his way in 100 odd laps time. We'll see how many he can get himself on the board. We're looking at the battle for P4. So this is the black and green car. This is Peter Helmberg in the 77, and he's got Linus Brustrom coming in behind him in the 71. Machine's a little bit of a train because he's got Lundberg Forsland not too far behind, Tony Uvenen just on the back before there's a little gap behind. So it's a bit of a 5-car battle as they work away down this front stretch. Completely different lines being taken. Linus keeps it up on the high line. The others cutting across the dog leg, but seemingly static in position right now. Having said that, Lundberg is getting a bit closer. Oh, yellow comes out though. First yellow on, right in front of that battle we are watching as he got into the pit lane. I'm trying to work out who that was, but one of the drivers has caused the first yellow of the day. It might be Lars Bolka, actually. It must be. Can't see anybody else dropping down the field, and he's got an end-of-line penalty now as well, I presume, for entering a closed pit lane because he's just come down the lane himself. So first caution of the day, just 20 laps in, and I can't imagine we're going to see very many pit stops here, even as much as they want them. Wow, that's quick. That's race leader, the 37 Ericsson. Obviously he's on fresher tyres, went in way too hot there, and so close to hitting Ericsson, and then just getting out of the way for Peter Helmberg. That could have been crazy. As all of the drivers, they fake the pit lane, which to be honest they should do because you have so long until the stage, and as I said, you've only got one set of tyres before the stage, so you don't want to go too early. So I think this is the right call for these drivers to stay out. Yeah, I mean, it's a low-risk call as well. So have a look here. I mean, good driving from Ericsson. He doesn't normally run that height, and he does very well to avoid Bolka here, who I'm not entirely sure what he's doing there, but that was very close for Ericsson to disaster, really. But yeah, it would have been a gamble for anybody to come in. I think it would be, you know, interesting to see somebody down the field do it, because what could happen is the next, you know, 55 laps run green. Everybody else will have to either stay out for as long as this goes green, and that goes until the end of the stage, in which case the guys who come in now will have better tyres the whole way through, or they will see the others come in about halfway as they were, and they'll gain a lot of time by not having to come in through the stage. Yes, they'll get run down and they probably wouldn't win the stage, but in that scenario anyway, but they would gain a lot of time and maybe would win the stage, maybe would certainly get some points. So interesting that nobody really did it, and Skoglund and Brostrom, the only ones to come in at the back, were not in for long enough for a 4-tyre change anyway. Yeah, and also they haven't used enough fuel, so they were limited on the tyre time. Very interesting. We've got a black flag for Marcus Stiller, who's coming down pit road as well. So that is an interesting one. He is taking a pit stop there. I am interested to see just when if they do stay out. Well, sorry, everyone has stayed out, but therefore, when are they going to come in? That is going to be an interesting one. Lars Bolka has put a message into the chat to apologise, saying his pedals recalibrated during the race, which would make sense by that driving and the braking there down into towards the first corner. But we will hopefully see him back out on the track if he can get that sorted. So Jesper Eriksson leading by Jonas Gunnarsson as the pace car comes in. This is the Beijer Building Materials 300 here at Phoenix, Arizona, round 4 of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Oval Series. And Jesper Eriksson, after a strong result last time, sits second in the championship, and a win here today would really boost his chances. But Jonas Gunnarsson from the pole is looking fast, although he's down into second place. The 37 gets a great restart here as we go green once again in Phoenix, and it's actually going to be Eriksson from third place having a look up the inside. Gunnarsson is going to stay high, and Eriksson is going to have that second position as we work our way through the first corner. Gunnarsson trying to use the high line, trying to use a bit more throttle on the outside, but he can't make it work.
No, not for the moment. And it's, you'd say, important for Eriksson to get to the lead here and try and stay there at the front, as Broström now might finally decide to start to use some of that speed that he's been holding back. Helmbro certainly the one who's losing places early on here. Evan Forsen now alongside him as well.
As this is looking a lot closer than what we saw at the beginning of the race. Side by side we go. Forsen trying to work his way up the inside of Peter Helmbro. He's going backwards on this restart. Broström is ahead of him, giving him a little bit of a tow as we work our way down towards turns 3 and 4, but it's up the inside for Forsen. He's got the red number 27 on the side of his car. He's got the inside line as he works his way out onto the front stretch, and he might just be able to hold on.
Yeah, maybe. As they come down the way towards turn 1 and 2 again, although on converging lines there for a second. Forsen very nearly got into the side of Helmbro, but Forsen will get through, I think. He's not quite clear though off of turn 2, and Helmbro will still remain on the outside here. Lundberg, the one waiting behind, finally he just lets that one go. Helmbro, he doesn't really want to be a part of this, but now Lundberg's trying to follow through. It's the problem with sort of letting that happen on a restart like this.
Yes, indeed, as it's looking like the drivers are seeing this as a good opportunity to make some moves after they did get a little bit static just before the caution. Lundberg is now up the inside of Helmbro, who's going backwards on this restart. Joel Bohlin is the car, the blue and yellow car in the background, trying to get closer as well, but Lundberg hasn't made this, hasn't completed this move. As we come through 4, he's got the inside line still. He's going to go hard to the left-hand side. You do gain a little bit of time. There's a little bit more awkward, the line coming towards the first corner. What is it going to be in towards turn number 1? It is going to be Helmbro still holding that outside line. The longer he does that, though, he'll be slightly wearing the tyres a little bit more, as the inside line seems to be the one today to complete the moves.
Well, it's pretty even between these two for now, and Helmbro will get clear into towards 3 and 4, but doesn't take the inside line. Wants to just be a lane further up, and now he finally is clear. Erik Lundberg will have to look over his shoulder at Joel Bohlin now, who's not far behind, and Tony Uvinen as well, who is there or thereabouts, looking on the inside through 1 and 2 now himself. His battles are lasting a long time on this restart, longer than I would say than at the very start of this race, which is interesting.
And we're down to about a second off the pace in terms of the lap times. This is Uvinen diving up the inside of Joel Bohlin. This is for P8 and 9 as we work our way onto the front stretch. The 84 having a solid start to the season. He's been running up towards the front multiple times, and he has the inside line. Joel Bohlin on the outside, the 43 machine trying to hold it all the way around. He's trying to really squeeze up. He's got Lundberg just ahead of him, slightly blocking his way, but he should be able to get on the power nicely. Down this back straight, side by side they go. He's going to have his nose ahead down in towards the final corner.
Again through 3 and 4. These two continue on. Bohlin though just squeezes Uvinen quite nicely to the inside there. It was close, but squeezes quite nicely, and they all run across the tarmac on the inside there again. It's very noticeable how they run more on the inside of the dogleg there in iRacing than they do in the real world. I guess the risk of cutting a tyre directly from doing that is a lot less, but it is unusual to see. I suppose it shortens the distance, which is why they all do it, but very unusual. Uvinen tries to slide in front of Bohlin and still can't quite do it here. The 43 still just about on the outside.
And we're getting further drivers trying to get involved in this one. Oliver Wallen gets up the inside of Joel Wallen in the red and white Polski Logistics number 72. So he's working his way forward. As I said, he started a little bit further back. He's now up inside the top 10, the first time this evening that he's really fighting up there, and he's getting himself in contention for some good positions a little bit later. The issue is the top 4 now are sort of pulling away from Forsland. So Ericsson leads from Arroldson now. Gunnarsson's dropped to 3rd. Then it's Broström, the top 4, but they are now pulling away from Forsland there, who is sort of holding a bit of a cork in the bottle for this battle that we are seeing as Helmbro tries to get the run down his inside in towards turn 3 and 4. He's having a bit of a look. He's got Lundberg coming up behind him as well. Big send to the inside there from Uvinen to defend.
Yeah, and it's all just stacking up here behind Forsland and Helmbro, battling over 5th and 6th position. You can start to see the front 4 racing away. They're just covered by a second themselves, so it's a lot more lively, this restart, than the actual start of the race, as Helmbro looks to the inside of Forsland. Very wide Forsland. I'm not sure whether he felt he was forced there by Helmbro looking down his inside, or whether he elected to go so high, but Helmbro through into 5th position. Forsland pushed down, and Lundberg now tries to get in on the action, and he tries to get through on Tony Uvinen as well.
And cutting hard to the left to get the run of Forsland, not enough. But side by side he goes in towards turn number 1. Oh, look how much more rolling speed. Forsland has no corner speed. Look how much slower he was. He was a little bit deep. And there goes Lundberg and Uvinen up the inside. We work our way down to 3 and 4. The number 27 is very slow at this point. I think his tyres are just dropped off way too much. He's not got going since the restart. And now Uvinen, 3rd position in just a 1 mile lap.
Yeah, I think part of the reason he was so high and wide there, Forsland, though, was that Lundberg pushed him there, to be honest. I don't think he was quite trying to go that high, although he's done it again here, to be fair. So he is looking to run that higher line, but it looks like at the moment anyone who is on the inside of him is just steaming through, and Tony Uvinen is the latest of those. Oh, he pulled in front, though, of Forsland a bit too quickly, and then broke immediately. That meant Forsland had nowhere to go. He got into the back of Uvinen. He's trying to redress the place, I think. Oliver Wallin's right behind him, though. Oh, and he might have touched him there. Into the wall, Forsland.
Caution is going to come out lap 37. Is there going to be further contact? No, his driver's just squeezing through against the barrier. I think we just about got away with that. But unfortunately, Forsland, he is going to have some big damage there on that front left side. And caution, second one of the day. Lap 37 as the car 37 leads the way. Everyone will be into the pit lane this time, taking fresh set of tyres to the end of the stage.
Yeah, unless somebody wants to take a risk again and try and keep a set of tyres for later. But did Bohlin hit Forsland, or did he lose it by himself? I think he loses it by himself there.
Yeah, I agree. His car was loose and slow for the last 5-10 laps. And I think he was already sliding before he went down. Like, he's already on a bit of lateral, and unfortunately hit it at the wrong angle. Was there contact? No, not, the other car into the wall, but not between the two cars. I don't know. I don't think if there was anything, there wasn't any major touch at least, but I guess the car is very light at that point and just not the ideal situation, as is everyone coming down. No, guess who stays out? Linus Broström. Yeah. Who would have thought? Let's see from the side angle. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely not visible contact at least.
No, I don't think there is any contact there. Meantime, Gunnarsson's got an end-of-line penalty. Not sure what that's all about, whether he was speeding there under caution, which is really bad news for him. But into the pit lane for all but Broström, Helmbro, Lundberg, Bohlin, Holmer, Gantz, Hagman, Skoglund, Kjellberg, Forsberg, Broström and Frederick Eck. So actually they're in the minority, those who are coming in, which is very unusual. They are looking to keep a set of tyres back for the end of the race, which, could pay off. But to be honest, I would be banking on there being a long green flag run to the end in which that strategy wouldn't work. So I think I would have been among those coming in there to sort of split this race into halfway.
Or we get another caution in 20 laps. They put the new tyres on then, and then they pass everyone who's just pitted now with fresh tyres to the end of the stage. That is the other option. But that's hoping that there is a caution.
And there's a big risk, actually, that you get lapped here, because they're going to be at least a second a lap slower to start with. If we're presuming, and it's my understanding that it's quite a linear fall-off here, so that means that they'll effectively stay a second to a second and a half slower than the race leaders every time. You know, this race is going to go for another 40 laps. You can't afford to lose a second a lap. You'll be, you know, a lap down. So that's the big risk almost attached with this as well.
This is going to be fun to work it out. It's lap 40. It's round 4 of the season and is halfway through the season at the end of this race. And drivers are having a little bit more of a strategic difficulties compared to some of the previous races so far this season because of the couple of cautions that we've had so far. Nothing major, but certainly some issues there for Forsund, who is, by the way, still in pit lane getting repairs to his machine before he works his way back out to hopefully rejoin the races. Now, Linus Broström, who leads Helmbro, the top 7 drivers, really everyone inside the top 10, did not stop. So they're on older tyres, and they're going to the end of the stage. Broström gets us underway to the Beijer Building Materials 300, and we get underway for the 3rd time of asking. 2 cautions already today, and Lundberg is on that inside line. Helmbro is outside as we work our way through turn number 1. Remember, there's new tyre runners who'll be coming through a lot faster.
Yeah, exactly, but they're going to be buried in the pack, and look at that. One of the great things about Phoenix in the background there, Linus Broström was right, sorry, not Linus Broström, one of his teammates, that must be Bohlin, who's on the very inside there in 72, looking to make up some of these places, and he is on those new tyres, of course, leading the line. Auritson's just behind him, trying to follow through as well. Oh, look at this, they're going to all fan out again, 3 wide on the way towards 1 and 2. They've just got to not trip over each other, all those slower runners all here, but they do have to be efficient in making these passes.
Huvenen did a nice little job up the inside there of Jesper Eriksson. They were 3 wide for a moment, but Huvenen also on the same strategy as Eriksson, by just being way more aggressive. Eriksson keeping it cautious there, but look at the gaggle of cars that are up ahead. We're going to go 4, 5 wide as we work our way through the dogleg and in towards turn 1. Do have to be careful here when you have such a speed differential. They're sliding up the inside. The 83, there's Skoglund, who stopped at the previous caution, so he's still going to be a little bit slower than the drivers who stopped this time around. Side by side they go down the back straight. Joel Waller making moves up ahead as well with 3 wide as we work our way through the final corner.
Yeah, it's all happening here. Look at that. Going either. Oh, and a caution. Now this is always the danger now, and Gunnarsson is involved in it.
He had an end-of-line penalty, and he's now going to be at the back once more after a bit of an issue there coming through turn 3. Didn't see how that one started. I'm sure we will. And now with another caution, is this going to open up the door to a few more pit stops? We'll have to see. Well, hasn't already changed much. Or it's a driver sending it up the inside there. It's a 162 machine, but unfortunately, not quite enough space. That was Kjellberg. I mean, he was pushing quite deep into that corner and just coming onto the line of Gunnarsson. Interesting one.
Yeah, interesting. Not sure there'll be a case to answer there too much, but let's see. As Linus Broström, I think, has flown past the pace car, and now there's going to be quite an ordeal as everybody flies up to the back of him and hopefully don't hit him. Pit lane should be open this time round, though, so that'll add to the confusion. Where is the pace car? Has he forgotten? Does he know what his job is here? He's got to lead the pack, not be in the middle of it. I don't know where he is.
I'm sure iRacing will sort itself out. There he is. There's the pace truck.
Taking his time.
I guess he got a bit confused because of coming back into the pit lane, and then the caution was so soon after. But either way, we found the pace truck on lap 45. Broström leads from Helmbro, Lundberg, and Holmer, your top 2 rows. When we get back to the restart, we're already seeing Auritsson, who made the stop, he's up into P4. Wallin is in 6th, Uven is in 8th, Eriksson in 10th. They are the top 4 drivers who stopped to that previous one. And I guess, Ewan, this caution just helps those drivers who are staying out. So we're getting closer and closer to that stage of lap 80.
Yeah. I don't know if it really helps them a lot. It does delay the amount of time the others have got to try and get away from them, I suppose, but I'm not sure it massively benefits them. I mean, if Eric Lundberg is not Wallin or Auritsson, I suppose, who are the 2 big chasers at the moment, if one of those 2 are not leading by the end of the first lap of this restart, I'll be fairly surprised because of the difference that there is now. But you're right, you know, there's sort of 10 laps or so been taken away, if you like. Not only the tyres won't be wearing as much under caution, obviously, but the amount of time that the guys on newer tyres have got to try and put them a lap down is diminishing. So it probably is just about a good thing for those old tyre runners.
Absolutely, as it's changed once again here at Phoenix. We only had one caution at the previous iteration of this race 5 months ago, but we're already on to 3 on lap 46. The green flag is going to come out, and this Brewstrom will get us underway once more here at Phoenix, Arizona. What a start that is as well, as he's got away from the field. Remember, we've got a mixture of old and new tyres up inside the top 10. There's going to be difference of speed of even more than a second a lap as we work our way through the first couple of corners. Up the inside, we can see Oliver Bohlin. He's on the new tyres. He goes 3 wide. He's already made up to second place, and surely when he gets to his teammate, that'll be an easy move as well. Having said that, Helmbro is going to hold it on the outside of 3 and 4 here, and it might not be so easy for Bohlin.
Hudson's on the outside of 3 wide as well, but Bohlin is going to step below Brostrom now. He doesn't quite lead by the end of the first lap from this restart, but he'll lead by the end of the second. He's on the inside of Brostrom, and he's going to go through. The thing for Brostrom now is to just not get hit by those coming through. There's going to be a lot of them making their way through the field in these next couple of moments. 32 laps to go until the stage. Here comes Haraldson.
All the way around the outside, so the new tyre runner is going to have such an advantage in this next 10-15 laps or so, but those staying out are hoping to use a fresher set of tyres and have the advantage later on. Almost a 3 wide dive there from Helmbro up the inside of turn 1, but it's actually Ayrton. Look at his drive mid-corner as we exit turn 2. He's gained 2-3 car lengths off Brostrom, who had no speed coming down this back straight. Helmbro now to the outside of 3. We've got Uvenen. He's on fresher tyres coming through as well.
Yeah, so Bohlin is going to have a nice advantage as a result of this. Haraldson next, then it should be Uvenen, as you say. 3 wide though in the background as some of the others try and come through. Yes, but Ericsson has not yet. Oh dear, into 1 and 2 again. This is just a nightmare really for those on old tyres. They don't even have the sort of grip to manoeuvre around what's happening around them at the moment.
As this is the original tyres that they started the race on. So yes, there's been 3 cautions, but we're still on 50 laps. So there's a good 40 racing laps on these tyres, and they really are dropped off now. So this is not good. Looking at the lap times, to be fair for Brostrom, he's actually about 6/10 off, but his general lap pace is not looking good compared to the others. Here comes Zach Forsten trying to get back through as well, as he's laps down, so that is not helping at all, as Brostrom having to look in his mirrors. He's got to hook and shot his old teammate driving up his inside as well, who's now moved to Sim Race Sweden and trying to have some success there.
Yeah, into the inside for Haraldson for the lead. Meantime, bottom of your screen, 2 new tyre runners effectively battling for what they think is going to be a stage win. And they might be right. If this goes green to the end, it will be between these 2, and maybe Tony Uvenen will join them as well. But Haraldson moves through into the lead. Starts today just 19 points off of Brostrom. He could more than halve that if he wins this stage and Brostrom picks up no stage points.
That's a good point. The stage points in some ways seem insignificant, but they do add up over the course of the 8 races that we have in this championship this season. As Gunnarsson's already back up into 8th place after an end-of-line penalty and a spin. That is amazing to see the 33 for Alcantech. Just showing you the pace he's got. He's already up the inside of Helmbro, and then he's going to be behind Brostrom as he exits turn 4. The 33's got mega speed at this point of the race.
Yeah, certainly. It's just about keeping this up now for the next sort of 26 laps, and hoping that for these guys anyway that there is no caution. The top 6 now, all covered by drivers who are on the new tyres, including Jonas Gunnarsson, who has been into the pit lane, by the way, under the previous caution to take on 43 seconds of repairs. Those seem to have worked. Jesper Eriksson, by the way, I'm not sure has actually taken a set of tyres. Not sure if there's any way we can figure this out, but he only stopped for 8 seconds when he did stop. I reckon that was just fuel that he's taken on now, and he's going to take these tyres to the end of the stage.
That's a good point, because he's not made anywhere near the progress, and he doesn't have the pace of other drivers, or he just took 2 tyres, which is a bit of an interesting one. Up the inside, Helmbro goes. Brostrom has no speed. He started from the pole of this restart, but is now going backwards as he's got Helmer up his inside. He's got Joel Bohlin as well on the 43 machine. But having said that, these drivers are all on the same strategy. They've all got 56 lap old tyres, and there's no difference. Broström normally is one to play the long game, but maybe he's just saving that little bit more, trying to eke it out. Because remember, it's lap 80. They've still got a long way to go on these tyres to get to the stage.
Yeah, a very long way to go indeed. Bohlin and Broström continue on though. These two are on the even tyres, so Broström is not even leading the line as far as those on the old tyres are concerned, but these guys now running over a second off of what they can do. You would say though, after nearly 60 laps, that is not bad. I guess it speaks a little bit to the amount of cautions we've had so far, and the fact that they've been able to manage their tyres quite well, keep them underneath them well. I think the objective for these guys, it looks anyway, get to the end of the first stage on the lead lap and then take your first new set of tyres under the caution. Hope that that extra set will be useful later on.
And one thing that we haven't really seen is cars sort of dancing around too much, sliding around like we've seen at the previous race. So they are, I think, keeping their car in check. Maybe the setups are working a little bit better. All drivers on the same setup, remember. So it is just a driver skill championship in that regard, as we are seeing the drivers in this really hot, difficult conditions trying to work their way forward. Here's Jesper Eriksson as he's just ahead of Holmer here, who we're riding on board. We've got Lundberg on the outside line side by side. We go through turns number 1 and 2, and yeah, I can definitely say that Eriksson is not on full brand new tyres. Oh, contact is made. Lundberg goes into the wall. Holmer's going to save that just about. This contact in the background, but caution doesn't come out.
No, nobody spun round, I don't think. Oh, Lundberg's damaged though, badly damaged. And that is a real shame for Erik Lundberg. He was running really well. He was up inside the top 3 on the start of this run. And unfortunately, he's going to be realistically out of contention here. Edvin Forsum, by the way, won't be in pit lane to join him. He's just made his way back out again after 7.5 minutes. Immediately, he has prospects of a place being made because of this. Lundberg just gets turned really into the wall.
Yeah, interesting line, though, between them. But, yeah, they converged, and just the tiniest bit of contact is amazing. You have these cars that are like 1,500 kilos, but they get turned around so easily, just the tiniest bit of lateral force, and the tyres aren't able to do so. Bohlin diving it down the inside, trying to go for the race lead. Aracingligan is on his outside. They're fighting. They got Forsum just up ahead of them, who is basically unlapped himself because of the speed that he's got at this moment in time, as he is, well, actually just regained that track position from the pit lane. But Bohlin is up the inside trying to make this work. He's getting caught. And unfortunately, these guys are teammates, but the Sim Race Student car is obviously a rival up ahead, getting right in their way of this battle.
Yeah, he should be able to get away for them because he seems to be on newer tyres after getting his way through out of the pit lane. But Bohlin and Aracingligan continue to fight, and even while they do this, they're pulling away from Uven, and they're showing that these are two of the fastest cars in the race, even though Bohlin was actually buried quite a long way back in the pack at the beginning of this one. He's showing that he's got the pace to run with some of the best. Aracingligan's shown himself to be one of those so far. As they come in towards 3 and 4 again, they are continuing to be absolutely locked together for some important stage points coming up in 17 laps time.
First little wiggle of a car. Bohlin dancing around on the XR4, maybe showing he's pushing those rears, trying to get through his teammate. Aracingligan's he finally given up, slowed down a bit on the entry of turn 1. No, he's holding it on the outside of turn 2, out onto the back straight. He does get the tiniest bit of the draft from the car ahead as well. Don't know how much that's really helping him because they remain side by side in towards the corner. What a battle between these guys. They've been side by side for 5 or 6 laps now, as they are still side by side down the front straight. Bohlin goes right to the inside line, but Aracingligan has got the run off 4, and he's going to slice to the inside to hold on to the lead.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit weird now with Forsum just up in front of them. Let's see if Aracingligan can actually find his way past, but the awkward thing about having a front runner who's multiple laps down coming back out onto the racetrack is that it's very hard to get past them sometimes, and that's what Aracingligan is feeling at the moment. You'd think Forsum might well just pull out the way now, and that's maybe what he's doing here. No, that's just his line on the apron. Oh, in contact. I think Bohlin just hit the 24 car there.
Yeah, this is getting to a point where Bohlin should realistically be getting out of the way, even though he technically doesn't have to, but it's just causing some problems for the leaders. And he's so many laps down. I should say, it's not like he's one lap down and he's trying to hold on and maybe get back in the race later on with some cautions. It is just causing some issues now. Eracingligan, obviously winner at this race 3 times. He knows what he's doing around here, and he's holding on from his teammate Bohlin, who's been so fast in the last couple of years, and is hungry to get a victory.
He certainly is. Out of 2, he's just putting the pressure on Eracingligan at the moment. Bohlin not worried about getting side by side with him. If these two could just run single file for a moment, they could actually put a couple of drivers a lap down, which might just help them towards the end of this race, just help to uncomplicate things slightly, but they're not really in prospect of putting anyone a lap down who would be sort of one of their main rivals by the end of the day. I mean, those others who are front runners who are currently on the old tyres are nowhere near being put a lap down, so I'm not sure that will be a feature of their thoughts, but in the immediate future we'll be trying to get past Bohlin, who is really in the way at the moment. Again, you don't have to get out of the way in oval racing, you can stay there, but he is certainly affecting things at the moment. These two could probably go quicker.
Yeah, they're about a second off the pace, but this is the thing. They're already on lap 30 of the stint, by the way. So we're talking about them on fresh tyres, but they're already getting to the point where they are feeling a big drop-off. Therefore, we are now on to basically lap 70 of the drivers who have stayed out. So Helmbro, Bohlin, Broström, they've actually got themselves into a pretty static order, and they are still out there. 10 laps to go for the stage, though. They can get there on fuel, but what about the tyres?
Yeah, and what do they do? I think more interestingly, at the stage, do they decide to keep them on at the stage maybe and go a little bit further into the race, knowing that some of their big rivals like Ericsson and Broström have decided to not take tyres in this first stage and have got effectively 3 sets for the last 100 laps. These guys have only got 2 sets in the pit lane at the moment as Bohlin again puts the pressure onto Eracingligan, who looks low on 1 and 2. Bohlin running that typical high line, meaning he continues to get the run off of the corners, which is again another reason why they're finding it difficult to get past.
Just think about your last point of the tyres. Surely they're going to pit at the stage though, because they're going to be on 40 lap old tyres, and then they're going to get absolutely smoked in the 3rd stint. So interesting one. It's always a game of cat and mouse, because you don't know when cautions are going to come later, and that is going to be the biggest factor of when you make your final pit stop. And then if there's one after that and you have a spare set of tyres for the final 10 lap dash, if there's a late caution, that obviously changes things quite a lot as well. But Eracingligan is looking comfortable now. He's held on for Bohlin for a while. I don't think Bohlin is going to be able to challenge too much more, but Bohlin is certainly getting in the way. Oliver Bohlin, by the way, just to confirm, he's up 18 places, and he might be winning the first stage of the day. So done such a good job on pace and also on the strategy to put himself in this situation, and we are getting close to a couple of drivers to put him a lap down.
Yeah, Frederick Eck will be first. Marcus Stiller and Matthias Kjellberg are battling perhaps against their better judgment, because they're at the moment sucking each other into big danger. And just up in front of them, Skoglund, Forsberg and Bjorn Broström are in a group as well. So it's all happening up front, and these are important moments in this race. Even more difficult now for the leaders is the fact that those who are about to go a lap down will try and fight this, because A, they're allowed to, and B, it's absolutely vital for their race that they try and stay on the lead lap, although Frederick Eck there didn't exactly put up much of a fight.
Yeah, he just made sure to get completely out of the way of the leading battle. Lap 75 we go, 5 laps remaining. It's the Beijer Building Materials 300, and we are at this situation. We've had 3 cautions. We've had some people pit, we've had some people not pit, and we've had a couple of people pit twice as well. But this is the situation. Eracingligan is leading from Bohlin, but they are stuck behind Bohlin, who is 10 laps down on the leader, as we now get towards 4 laps to go in the stage. But it looks like they're pretty even on lap speed, so Eracingligan can't do much, and fortunately it's his teammate behind. So I don't think Bohlin will be doing anything too crazy, but they're definitely faster than Bohlin now.
Yeah, oh, and he gets loose off of 2 as well. Arvidsson's got to go for it now, I think, into 3, but he won't. I think he's feeling a little bit of caution almost with the driver in front of him, but if he were to be able to dispatch Forsund, then it could make things easier with Oliver Bohlin, because if Forsund's not getting out the way for Arvidsson, I doubt he'll get out the way for Oliver Bohlin, to be honest. So let's see, as he looks to the inside again, Arvidsson seems to be stronger than Forsund through 1 and 2, but this is actually inviting pressure onto him. Bohlin is seizing chances because of this.
And this is such a tricky situation to be in for the 24, because he's looking ahead, he's looking in his mirrors. I don't think, as I said, Wallen's going to do anything crazy. They've also got Tony Uvinen, who's slightly closing in, but they're doing almost identical lap times, so it's not going to change in these final couple of laps before the stage. As I said, it's the end of lap 80 where the 10 points go to the stage winner, then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the top 10 positions. So currently Dan Holmer will be getting the final point. So Ericsson and Broström, your top 2 in the championship, will not be getting stage points as it stands.
No. And that is going to be crucial for this championship. As I mentioned earlier, Arvidsson could halve his disadvantage. Look at this. They are having an almighty stack up into 1 and 3, which is nearly causing Bohlin to hit Arvidsson almost every time into these braking zones. But at the moment, he's not throwing caution to the wind to try and get past Arvidsson, who is now trying to get side by side with Forsund to keep this stage win. He's drifting up into him. Got to be careful. Oh, and here's Wallin's chance.
And here we go, lap 80, stage break at the end of this one. Who is going to win? Is it the 24? Is it the 72 who dives it down the inside? He's done the up and under, coming off turn 4, and he's made it work with 3 wide as there's Forsund on the outside. This is very awkward for the 24. He can't do the line that he wanted, so Wallen slides through on his teammate. There's just one final opportunity for the 24 to try and get the stage victory, but it's the 72 of Oliver Wallen. He's made up 19 places from qualifying, but he will take the stage win here at the Beijer Building Materials 300, and what a result that is going to be for him, as he managed to hold on after some tricky strategic moments there. They slow down, the stage will come out. It looks like Linus Broström will get the final points there. He'll get 1 singular point for finishing P10, and as we go through the caution proceedings, we'll take some messages from our partners. Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona. It's the Beijer Building Materials 300 here for the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's round number 4 of the season. We're under caution as it is the stage break here at lap 80, and it was Oliver Wallen just getting his teammate on the final lap after Eracingligan got stuck behind Edvin Forsund. He's not going to be overly happy with that one, but second place is still a solid result. at this time. As you would expect, everyone came down pit lane to take the next set of tyres. So some people will only have one set of tyres left in this race, and they also need a pit stop. So there's nothing to really do for them in terms of strategy. But some drivers did save a set of tyres, like of Helmbro, Broster, Joel Bohlin, Dan Holmer in there as well. So there'll be ones to look out for if there is a late caution a bit later on as well. It's certainly going to be an interesting final 100 laps or so as the pace truck comes in. Wallen is going to lead Arazen, Uvenen and Schott are going to be the row behind. Then we've got Loven and Helmbro, Holmer Erling, Wallen and Brostrom, who round out your top 10, as it is not been the race for Jesper Eriksson. He's down in P13. He has got some work to do to get himself back up after leading in the early stages of this race. Through 3 and 4 we come. We get to the restart zone, and we are going green once again here in Phoenix, and it's a lovely start from Wallen. He's opened up the opportunity for Uvenen to jump down the inside of Aronson as well as he work away in towards the first corner. Everyone's back on the same tyre strategy, so it's full push here at the front.
Yeah, it is. And if it goes green, they will end up on the same strategy as well. So that's what they'll all be thinking about. They'll be imagining this is the run to the end as Uvenen gets down the inside of Aronson, who was overtaking late for that stage win by Oliver Wallen. I hope not to be pushed even further behind on this restart. Oh, Wallen!
Wallen loses it as we come through the dogleg. He saved it though. He gathered it up. He's lost some positions, but that just shows you how difficult it is. We saw a little bit earlier as well, Forsen going for a spin through the dogleg. He saved it, and he's still inside the top 10.
Well, that is remarkable, the fact he saved that. I'm not really sure how he's managed it. Aronson down the inside of Uvenen. He stops in the middle of the corner. This is an aggressive restart. Everybody, after last year or earlier this year's race in June, realising this could be the final restart. So you've got to push from now, imagining that it is. Aronson really trying hard to keep the lead there, and he does.
Let's see, the 72 does a bit of a later apex through turns 3 and 4. He works his way up high, and he's already losing it. He's already losing it before he goes through the bump, and the bump does not help through the dogleg. Big save there, because that still gives him an opportunity to get some good points today. Wow, he's 45 degrees at least sideways. Big save there from Oliver.
Absolutely. That was a massive save. And unfortunately for him, the damage is already done in a way, because Jesper Eriksson and Linus Brostrom are already ahead of him, two of his championship rivals, you would say, who he gained on in that first stage by winning. Now only 8 points behind Brostrom and just 2 behind Eriksson. He's now behind them both in this race, and it probably hasn't done much good for his tyres either.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to handle if we do go green for a long time here. And as ever, as the stint gets longer, it will quieten down a little bit, so that's why everyone was so aggressive on those first couple of laps. They were trying to find their position, but what a start as well from Christian Leuven, who's got himself up into 3rd place in the Toyota, looking very strong this race. Robert Erling as well, having another strong performance, up racing inside the top 10. Eriksson's already made his way up to 5th place from 13th, and then Brostrom up into 7th, so the green does rise to the top as we're here on lap 90.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long for Jesper Eriksson to work his way through. That is the thing that Linus Brostrom has got to follow him almost with this. So Peter Helmbro's on a similar strategy to them, I suppose. That was close between Holmer and Joel Wallen, who was showing on my screen to have a meatball flag at the end of that stage, but no idea what it was for. And he seems to have cleared it with a very normal pit stop length. So don't know what was going on there at all. But that's the last battle inside the top 10, because Wallen's now been pushed outside of it.
Yes, definitely a big battle here. I mean, look at this. You see the likes of Goodison there, who's been up, he's been down in this race, and now he's fighting with Wallen, who's just had a spin. So not many drivers having clean races so far, as we are very close to the half race distance here in Phoenix, and most of the drivers still just assuming 1 pit stop so far in this race, 1 to go as well, as they managed to stretch it all the way out to the stage caution, as Wallen there is trying to defend in the background. Over Marcus Hogman, who's working his way up. He's had a little bit of a more quiet season, is the number 12. As there's Joel Bohlin trying to get up the inside of the 12, thinking about it in towards turn 1, but not making a move. In the background, though, we are seeing Forsland, who's obviously laps down, going side by side with Gunnarsson, but Forsland now not getting involved with the leaders.
Yeah, I suppose just enjoying himself, trying to come through the field as best he can now. He's 11 laps down as it stands. Lundberg, though, is behind him, so it's already been worth it as far as a single point has gone. Lundberg himself has gotten back into the race as well after nearly 10 minutes of repairs. So good to see these guys actually preparing and coming back out again. No fast repairs in this series. It means that you do really have to take care with your machine. And I think that does promote clean racing as well. It's not often great when you get another spare car down in the pit lane. It doesn't always promote the best racing.
No, definitely not. As here's Robert Erling, who's joined 7th place in the standings with Lars Bulker. Lars Bulker basically DNFing on the opening laps. He's going to be getting some points on him so far, and looking strong once again. P5 as it stands, trying to work his way forward. He's really batting up with the big names. Of course, Ericsson is there just a little bit ahead of him, starting to pull away. Helmbro in behind. This is looking very strong. And for the race lead, Tony Uvenen, he's been strong so far this season in that 84 machine. He's basically, in an independent team, working himself, but he's got the pace so far. As he works his way off 3 and 4, he's going to be fighting for this race lead today.
Yeah, he certainly will be.
Ooh, Ericsson in the background, actually. Sorry, diving up the inside. Just got the run off turn 2 and has got past Leuven for 3rd place.
Yeah, Ericsson is pretty much restoring himself to where he was before, and he's got an advantage as far as tyre sets are concerned as well. So the others, I think, have got to hope for a very long run to the end, effectively a 100-lap run to the end of the race now. I think if they don't get that, it could be very, very difficult. Or at the very least, you need to sort of have one caution halfway through where everybody agrees to come in and then not after that. But you really are hoping that it comes at the right time at that point. I do wonder if it goes green, whether about lap 135, lap 130 maybe, we're going to start to see some stops, but unsure as to whether that will actually happen, because it's very movable at the moment, this pit stop window. You'd be tempted, very tempted, if you had 2 sets down in pit lane to pit really early, maybe lap 120 something if you're one of those guys, but doubt we'll see too many of those.
Yeah, that's true. If you know it's going to be green to the end, yeah, you might even split this into a 2-stop because of the pace drop-off, but you never know with the caution, so you've got to keep a little bit in your pocket. You can't always go the full aggressive strategy, because it leaves you very vulnerable later on. You can't have all your cookies at once. You've got to leave something a little bit later in these longer races. It's not just a 20-minute sprint race. It's a hour and a half, 2 hours of fighting out there on the track. You've got to find the best way of getting your car to the end. There is Gunnarsson fighting up the inside of Marcus Hogman in the 12 machine, getting up the inside in towards the first corner. He's a little bit further back than he would have wanted, so that's not going to be the move there in towards turn 2. Hogman will hold on to that one, and once again he's still got Forsund, who's coming in behind trying to get involved.
Yeah, Forsund of course still multiple laps down, as we've said, and has the right to get involved in these battles, but I think some of those on the lead lap would rather he didn't. Bohlin definitely seems to be feeling the effects from that half spin. When you really shred through the tyres like that, it really has a big effect. The temperature has come down by nearly 5 degrees Celsius since we started this race this afternoon, but nevertheless still in the 50s and very, very warm.
Yes, and you basically can't get the heat out of the tyres at that point. You just have to keep going, and it's a bit of a snowball cycle. Ericsson, we're looking at Uvenen trying to go for the lead a couple laps ago, but now Ericsson is making the move on Uvenen. He's going to be getting this 2nd place, the 37 moving his way forward. Uvenen will file into 3rd place. They've pulled away from Leuven in behind, so it was a little bit of a dash of the wall there from the 84 as well. So this is looking like a bit of a top 3 breakaway at this moment in time, and to be fair, Erling's dropped off from Leuven as well, so the top drivers are starting to go fast. Ericsson just clipping, I think, the wall as well. So we're over lap 100 now, and we're starting to see some leaders forming towards the front.
Yeah, we certainly are. And the longer Uvenen could hold on from Ericsson, the better it would have been for Alexander Aronson, but the holding back hadn't quite happened as much as he would have hoped, I suppose, and Ericsson's now going to be on the chase for Alexander Aronson, who is just coming up behind him at the moment. Aronson won, or led rather, 151 laps, by the way, in June when he won the championship here at this very venue. I think he only didn't lead through a green flag pit stop cycle, if I remember correctly, and that's how he won the championship. Although we're running 30 laps longer tonight than when we did on that particular occasion, so it's going to be a longer race and more difficult, you'd imagine, as well, as far as the competition Ericsson is coming up against. Strategically as well, certainly a more difficult race and a more complex race than what we had in June.
Oh yeah, it's been a very tough race for the drivers. I mean, we see these drivers be all over the place. I mean, Ericsson's been up and down, now back up into second place. Bohlin's been down and up, and now back down to 12th place. So it's not been a race where you've stayed in the same position for very long, that is for sure. Although there has been a couple of drivers we haven't mentioned so far a little bit further down the back, like Kenneth Tier, your race winner from the first race of the season, but struggling today. Also a sponsor of the race last time out, the cancer awareness race. He's got the Beijer sponsor on his car as well. Of course, by a big thanks to them for sponsoring this race, but not the result that they would have wanted if it stays like this, although they've still got plenty of time to work their way forward, and working their way forward is what Joel Wallin's doing. The 43, he's going to get past Dan Holmer there as on the exit of T4. Onto lap 107 we go, and he's just slid down the inside. He's completed the move.
Yeah, he has, and Holmer will try and respond off of 2 if possible. Just looks to the low side through 2, and we'll have a look at 3 maybe. No, not able to get through there. So this battle for 8th will continue. Only just in front of them, Linus Broström is still running, by the way. You can see the difference in the progress he has made here. I think he's settling in for a very long green flag run here, but Ericsson, perhaps I think correctly, is driving a little bit more like a driver with 2 sets of tyres in the pit lane. Don't forget, Broström has that as well. And surprising that Broström isn't trying to use that a little bit to sort of burn up the tyres a little bit earlier, make up some places, because he really hasn't gained very many since the restart.
Yeah, he's not known to go for the aggressive strategy though, and I do like the idea of saving a set of tyres, because I get the feeling that if there's a late caution with 10-15 laps to go, then that could be a big advantage with some other drivers on really worn tyres at the time. That's certainly going to be an interesting factor if we get to that stage, but it's looking like it might go green. The drivers have settled down nicely, and when that happens, it's a little bit more difficult to go side by side because of the tyre wear that we're seeing today. Such hot track temperatures plus the nature of the circuit, it really is a game of keeping your tyres in check for later on in your stint.
Yeah, again, these track temperatures are so high, and the fall-off so severe that that's really what you've got to worry about today. Having said that, at the end of the first stage, we didn't really see the tyre drop-off that was being previewed. Some of the guys have been out there for 80 laps by the end of stage 1. I can't say I saw the sort of severe 3-second drop-off per lap.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Didn't get to quite that amount, but maybe that was on a full green flag run. We had so many cautions breaking it up that maybe that just helped cool down the tyres a little bit and make them go a little bit longer. So if we do stay green this time round, maybe the drop-off will be even more.
Yeah, maybe. Because, what was it, 3 cautions in the first stage? Yeah, that would have totaled at least 10 laps, maybe closer to 15. So yeah, that is true. When you take away sort of 20% of the laps, maybe that does make a bit of a difference in terms of the drop-off. But even then, it wasn't a sort of 20% less. It was still quite a lot less. So maybe they're not going to make quite much of a difference. I think that the real difference is going to be, as I think some people have predicted, if someone's on very new tyres and someone isn't, and that's what the guys who held 2 sets of tyres down the pit lane and still have 2 sets of tyres down the pit lane now are hoping for, is that real big difference when you put new tyres on versus those really old ones, which we're going to see later on. for those guys who've only got one set left, that's where we're going to see the big difference, not necessarily the big drop-off that was predicted.
Yeah, because even a second lap is plenty to make the overtakes. You saw that on the chaos of some of these restarts where half the field pitted, half the field didn't. Certainly makes quite a big difference, as we're seeing here. So that was Helmbro and Erling, the two teammates. Helmbro going past, but interestingly, Helmbro has only made one stop this race, but Erling has made two. Obviously, they both did this most recent pit stop at the same time at the stage caution, but before that, they did different ways of getting to that, with Helmbro saving all the way and Erling making a stop, but they remain at the same point of the track. So which one was better? Who knows, as it all got equalised, and we're now getting towards the end of the race. To a bit of a run down the order, Aronson is now leading by 1.6 seconds. He's pulled away from Ericsson. Uveland can't quite keep up as well. So Aronson's looking very, very fast here. So we've got a 2-time winner of this race in Ericsson against a 3-time winner of this race. So that is very good to see that the drivers who are good at this circuit get to the front. But then we have Uveland and Loven going for a podium. We've got Helmbro, Erling as well. Some drivers not necessarily involved in the championship hunt, but taking some big points away.
Yeah, they certainly are. You'd have to say at the end of this race, I think if it stays like this anyway, that we are starting to get a championship 4, as it were, not in the way that the playoffs give you, but in a points way. And that's Broström, Ericsson, Bohlin and Aronson. You have to say that Bohlin is in a little bit of danger of not being involved in that if he lets this run get out of hand, although he sort of regathered himself after his near crash on the restart of this second and final stage. But yeah, he's still behind all the other championship contenders, and look at this. Loven trying to keep Helmbro behind. That is really chasing him down towards the pit wall. You don't often see that in oval racing, but Helmbro trying his hardest to get through, but can't quite shut the door on Loven.
Helmbro definitely good on the road courses as well, as they get so close side by side in towards turn 1. Helmbro's really fighting for this, and Loven wants to hold on to his top 4 position, but Helmbro's got through. Loven gets that car rotated though on the middle of turns 3 and 4. He's got the inside line down towards the final corner. Helmbro's going to have to fight for this one high on that outside. He should be able to get on the power a little bit earlier, and he'll have the momentum down the front stretch, but the big inside line sweep for the 6. Is that going to gain a couple of thousandths enough maybe to hold on as they go side by side once more into turn 2?
Yeah, Helmbro's still on the outside line here and should be able to get himself clear of Loven, you'd think, on the exit. Oh, a bit of a slide for Loven as well. Will seal the deal for Peter Helmbro. So through he goes into 4th position. Don't forget, he's one of those who's got 2 sets of tyres down on pit lane as well. So Ericsson is very much leading the line of those who have 2 sets on pit lane, but Helmbro has 2 as well, worth remembering that.
Yes, and that is going to be pretty crucial at some point if the situation gets to it. Well, what a move there by Helmbro, working his way forward. He's certainly has some more speed. He's got past Erling, and now Erling, he's absolutely dropped him. So they're on the same old tyres, same age tyres. So Helmbro just pushing a little bit more. Maybe he's going to go for the early pit stop. We are almost to a point where you'd half think about pitting towards the end. I guess about 50 laps would be ideal, so another 10 laps or so, but 60 laps is still in a window where they could cope with that.
Yeah, it is for the moment. So let's see who comes in first. I personally can't see them, trying to make 2 stops under green here. I actually think that with the tyre drop-off that we're seeing at the moment, the race leader last time round was just over a second off of his best lap time, Aronson. I actually think that 2 stops under the green wouldn't be any good. If this race does go green to the end, you're going to make just one more pit stop. Going to want to just make one more pit stop, and in the end, that only helps Alexander Aronson really, when you think about it. He's the leader of those who've only got 1 set of tyres down pit lane. I think he would like this race to go green for another 53 laps. I think it would benefit him the most.
Also because he's got the lead and he's got the speed, so he doesn't need to worry about that. He's going to win, either way, with a spare tyre or without. He's got the speed, so that is, that's him in a very comfortable position. He's got over 2 seconds to Ericsson. Oven hasn't quite been dropped, but he's not exactly fighting so hard to keep up with Ericsson. And Helmbro is not quite in the battle, but this is the big train that is behind Helmbro. So we've got Löwen leading, got Erling, Broström that we're looking on board with. We've got Wallen, we've got Homer, and Oliver Wallen just in behind. So actually Oliver Wallen's making some inroads to get back, and I think there could be quite a bit of change in this order before we get to the end of the race.
Yeah, there probably will be, I would imagine. One driver I've got to imagine is going to be a part of that as well is Linus Broström, who I've got to say I've been a bit surprised by in this second stage. I thought he drove smartly in stage one. Yes, didn't get many stage points for it, but that's not what it was about as far as I can, as far as I can see and read his strategy. I think it was very much about the end of the race and the final bit points, which are a lot more important here. But that's just not materialising at the moment. Now, of course, there could be a big run coming in the next 10 laps. If he makes a few overtakes in the next 10 laps or so before everybody starts to come in, then suddenly it's vindicated that he's been keeping his tyres back. But a little bit concerned that it's not been him conserving tyres, what we've been seeing so far tonight, but in fact a lack of speed, because we're still not yet to see the upside of this slower start to this run.
Considering we're two-thirds into the race, I think he just doesn't have the pace today that he would have wanted as a slow car there on the outside. That's probably Kjellberg or Eck just letting the field through. But we're now trying to have a bit of a battle here as Oliver Wallen gets past Joel Wallen and is starting to work his way forward. He's got Dan Holmer just up ahead of him, and then he's got the boss Broström. So this is an important sort of moment of the race for Wallen, because if he can work his way through up into Löwen, that's P5. And he is third place in the standings, so that'll be some good points.
Yeah, it would be. And there goes Wallen down the inside on a real good recovery at the moment. Homer and Wallen will be allowed to continue their fight that seems to have been going on for quite some time. But there's no doubting that Ericsson and Aurelson are the winners from this scenario, with Wallen and Broström down here. Wallen with the speed, but obviously that mistake earlier, and Broström maybe without the speed. This is not quite getting it into a two-horse race because we're only halfway through the season after all, but Aurelson and Ericsson would absolutely benefit from a result like this. They would get clear of the other two, that's for certain.
Yes, and as the season goes on, we will lose drivers from realistic contention. Peter Helmbro comes down pit lane, so that is interesting. 57 laps to go. He did pit with everyone at the previous caution, but he's coming down once again. And is this going to open up a wave of drivers who are going to be coming down pit road with a green flag pit stop? It's a bit of a risk. Caution. Surely you're going to wait for the caution to make your pit stop, but no, he's going to go for the green flag stop in the 77.
Yeah, he is. And it's a little bit on the early side, as you say, but I think this is not a bad call for a driver who has got two sets of tyres down on pit lane, Peter Helmbro, at the moment. He's got that little bit of freedom to come in a little bit earlier, just inside half distance in this final stage, which may just help him on a little bit. But is that going to set off a chain reaction now with lots more coming in? Every time they go past, there's going to be a driver looking around them. Who's coming in here? I need to make sure I'm not running into the back of anybody else and all this kind of thing. Got to be very, very wary of all that, of course. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting next few laps as everybody's looking at one another, trying to make sure they don't run into one another, first of all, when they're coming in, but also when they're coming in and what the advantage of that is, the early stop. Don't expect to see it from those who've only got one set of tyres left, but from those who have two, this is the ideal time to use that.
And yeah, no one's, a couple of drivers scraping the wall there. No one's sort of jumping and diving down pit road, are they? So I think that just shows it is a bit early. And as you say, especially if you have only one set of tyres left, you are going to be waiting and waiting, hoping that there's a timely caution that would make sense. But my worry for Helmbro is that he's gone a lap down. And I guess if there's caution, he will get it back, being the first driver lap down, but still, it's not the position where you want to be. Yes, but Ericsson joins him, so maybe this is the time. couple of laps it took for them to make the decision, but maybe this is the time as Oliver Wallen's going to be getting his teammate Linus Broström. Or I just said that he's had a bit of a wiggle, and I don't think he's quite going to have the momentum.
I wouldn't be surprised if Broström is one of those in a moment to come in, although that would sort of undo the strategy of him saving tyres. Again, we're now starting to believe that maybe he just doesn't quite have the speed. He will give an easy time to his teammate there, Oliver Wallen. Don't expect to see him in any time soon. That big slide he had was really undone his strategy, because he had the track position, although he didn't have the tyres early. He did have the track position. Now he hasn't got either, and that is going to be a problem for Wallen, who now looks to the inside of Erling as well.
And Peter Helmbrose coming through on this battle. There he is. He's got the Valentino Rossi green as he works his way through on the fresher tyres. Just drive straight past them. That was pretty easy. Very little time lost there. Just showing you the difference of the tyres. And he's going to be getting a big undercut as Broström is just going backwards here. This is not good for him. Joel Wallen's got past. And we're going to be seeing, I think Håkan Schott is just in the background as well. We've got a meatball for Scotland. Where is he? He's P19. He is a lap down. Oh, contact is made. Can Broström save it? Yes, he can. He's going to go into the wall, though. Big contact on the outside. There's definitely going to be some damage there as drivers are moving around. 50 laps to go.
Yeah, well, this is going from bad to worse now for the championship leader, who, as it stands, would lose his championship lead. Looking at the way this is going. Oh, this is Scotland, who finds the wall really hard. And that's no surprise. He's come into pit lane in the last couple of moments. That's going to be a very long repair. We've seen that a lot of times so far tonight.
Yeah, that's why they don't really do it in real life if they can avoid it, because it's maybe slightly faster, but it's a big risk. And if 3 drivers out of 24 do that, I would say that's a very high chance. I mean, it's over 10% risk as it stands, mathematically speaking. Robert Erling is down pit road with Scotland. And no caution, of course, coming out. So there's the 49, the big wiggle. Hard cut to the left-hand side. Is that going to be a pit entry? No, just a bit of a mistake there from Kenneth Tier, who's in P11, but not really challenging today where he would have wanted. Aronson down pit lane. So they're deciding about halfway through this final run from the caution is the time to pit.
So this is why it's very hard when you've only got one set of tyres down pit lane, because you want to leave it as long as possible in case there is a caution to catch. But you can't leave it too long in case there isn't, and the drivers around you get a big undercut. So he's left it a couple of laps to hope for one. But Ericsson is going to start to gain too much time on him if he leaves it too long. So into the pit lane comes Alexander Aronson, and 4 tyres changed. On he goes. And Aronson will be ahead or behind Ericsson here. I can't quite work out for the moment, but Aronson, and it is behind quite significantly actually. He left that 5 laps and maybe a bit too long.
Yes, that is going to be a good few seconds that he needs to make up. Uvenen there is coming down pit road, so the new tyres are working out. And as you say, if we go green to the end now, Ericsson just pulled a strategy blinder with a big undercut, but if we had a caution when it stayed out, when Aronson stayed out, then it would be completely different. So that is why it's always a difficult one to choose your strategy, because there's so many factors that could benefit or worsen your strategy. As Uvenen now is in the pit box getting his stop. Of course, he'll take the 4 tyres. Now he's going to take just the 2, but he's going to be undercut quite a bit by Ericsson and then Aronson as well.
Yeah, certainly will be. And this is just a bad position for Aronson to be in, really, because say if there is another caution, Ericsson would come in for a new set of tyres and go straight past him anyway on a late race restart. So this is an impossible situation now for Aronson to be in. And yeah, I don't know what he can hope for that is going to help him at this stage. They're both just back onto the lead lap now as well. So still plenty of drivers to come in. Helmbro is in front of them both though, and he is just in front of Ericsson right now. They're battling for 11th, but this is effectively the race lead they're fighting over, with just over 40 laps to go as well.
That's very true. See, Peter Helmbro pitting so much earlier, managed to get ahead. That is crazy how big the undercut is around here. But then you have to go further. So there's going to be a sweet spot somewhere where the balance is just right. And we have a lot of drivers still out there yet to make their final pit stop. So we are still going to be waiting to see which strategy is going to be coming out. Just over 40 laps to go here at Phoenix.
Yeah, not too long remaining in this race at all. Homer continues to put the pressure on Oliver Bohlin, who returns to the front of the field again, I suppose, but he'll be disappointed it is taking this long as Christian Gantz comes into pit lane. Drives through quite a lot of the pit boxes on the inside line there, which you're normally not allowed to do, but he seems to have gotten away with it. As long as you can spot your box, then that's fine. And Gantz gets a set of 4 tyres rather, and he goes back out onto the circuit again after quite a long stop. 17 seconds. There'll be a slow trickle of drivers down pit lane in the next 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes or so, you'd say.
As in live pictures, we saw Bohlin get past Homer for second place, but now Homer's trying to come back. Lap 145, he dives up the inside. He's going to have to run down towards the first corner, but the blue and yellow machine of Bohlin's looking strong on that outside line. He goes way up there to try and get the run. He'll have a good acceleration, good momentum down his back straight, but Homer's going to be holding on to this one. They've got Oliver Bohlin just up ahead, and leaves Brostrom behind, so Polski Logistics, bread and the sandwich in the middle as this battle as around the outside. Bohlin goes, should just about be able to hold on, so Homer not quite enough. Bohlin up into second finally, as we're going to hit 40 laps to go here in Phoenix.
Yeah, it's not long at all. In fact, we're just 10 away from the lap count that we had for the last race we had here in June. 156 laps that day, pushing on another 30 here today, and it has maybe opened things out in terms of strategy just a little bit towards the second half of this race, but most of that has been created by some very high tyre wear we have had here today, as Tony Ubinen there works his way down the inside of this lead battle. He'll soon be back on the lead lap as well, and no longer fearful of a badly timed caution.
Absolutely, yeah, but with how sort of green is going, Brostrom comes down pit lane. How green is going, I guess the drivers are getting more and more confident it's going to stay green to the end, and they are adjusting their pit stops because of that. Bohlin getting 2 drivers diving up the inside of him, unlapping themselves. That's a little bit awkward, but not enough for him to lose any positions or anything like that for the current race lead. But where is it going to be? Because they are going to be undercut massively by those drivers. I mean, Peter Helmberg's already stopped. He's going to be, well, actually, I guess Ericsson has got past now. He's 13 seconds off the lead. He's it's already over half a lap gained from that, such as the fresher tyres.
Yeah, such a huge advantage, isn't it, when you put the fresh tyres on? At the moment, Oliver Bohlin is now nearly 2 seconds off of his personal best. That was last time, at least. He's more consistently around 1.5 seconds behind, and even just accumulating 5 laps like that, you can lose, 9 seconds or 7.5 seconds or so. It's a big disadvantage. But Ericsson is past Ericsson again, and we'll see whether this remains. Now Ericsson will be hoping for a caution, really, because he's on the wrong side rather of this tyre battle.
Yeah, certainly is. I think the longer that we go green, well, I haven't said that. That's a big dive there to the inside from Homer. How long has Helmberg been on his tyres? I mean, Helmberg's already been on his tyres 20 laps now. I mean, Arvidsson's already 12, Ericsson's 17. So the longer they stay out, Bohlin is then going to get a big jump on them, but he's not going to have enough laps to get back potentially, because it's going to be over half a lap. Very interesting one we see as Homer dives down pit road now. It is definitely not certain which strategy is going to come out on top, and then you never know if a caution is going to come out and change all of that. In the top 3, we've got Bohlin on 2 stops, Bohlin with 1 stop, and then Gunnarsson with 3. So there goes your answer of which strategy is best today.
Yeah, well, for now at least, that's the way it's going. It's been a very unusual race, I think, in some ways. This is what, again, the stage caution, I think, provides. It just gives us 2 races, really. A race to lap 80. Yes, of course, the first race to lap 80 was affected by what might happen in the run to the end, but effectively what we've seen is two races in which you take a pit stop halfway through. two one-stop races. One-stop races are not very exciting, really. And we've seen two of them in one race here. So, that's unfortunately the drawback of a stage caution. I thought the high tyre wear would maybe sort of negate that a little bit. And, I thought the stuff early on with holding tyres back for later is going to be all very interesting. But unfortunately, it hasn't really played out.
Well, they haven't said that, though, Ewan. I mean, we do have quite a big difference on the strategy. I mean, Bohlin's still out there. He's going to be over 20 laps offset to the leaders. But the issue is Ericsson's only 8 seconds behind him. So they're going to have to be 33 laps to go. So 30-second lap. They're going to have to be a second a lap faster, basically, including getting the overtakes done and allowing an extra couple of seconds here and there for time lost. So they're going to have to a big push to the end, and to be honest, he's going to want to pit soon, otherwise he's going to not have enough laps to gain that time back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is a difference in strategy. As you say, there is quite a wide spread of different strategies, true, but that doesn't equal interest necessarily, because the different strategies we've got going on at the moment, I'm not even sure what they're doing, really. We're about to complete 155 laps. There's no reason why they should be, unless he's trying to catch a caution, I suppose, and that makes sense for Bohlin, who's only got one set of tyres left, and if he's trying to win the race or nothing, then fair enough. But, I mean, why would you do a 73 lap stint now, continue on, knowing there's only 30 laps left in the race? That's completely unbalanced. I think Ericsson's played it best here. I actually thought he'd made a mistake when he'd let Ericsson get out ahead of him. Thought it would be very difficult to overtake, but even a small difference in tyres has proved to be quite large. So maybe Bohlin's going to tear through at the end and take all these positions, but I just can't see, so heavily scaling your strategy to be so worn out on tyres at one end and so relatively fresh on the other for just 30 laps is in any way beneficial to him. I can't really see how that's going to help, because he's not far off losing the lead.
Yeah, I think surely he's got a pit this time. 30 laps to go, second a lap. Yes, he does come in, but he's going to have a big push to the end. Sorry, I thought for a second he was going to come in. Yes, a big push to the end. Joel Bohlin is going to follow him in, and Bohlin just gets it slowed in the background. Joel, that is. It's going to be a big push to the end, and it's such a shame for him if the caution comes out right now, but he was waiting. He was trying to get the caution. He was trying to use those fresher set of tyres when he can, because just a reminder, obviously we've seen a few people pit, but Helmbro's 28 laps, Ericsson 20 laps. They're already going to be quite worn. They're already a second off their best times, so it made sense, but as it's gone green, he's probably waited a little bit too long.
I think so. I mean, you could say worth a go, but I think in Oliver Bohlin's championship situation, where he reduced it to just 8 points off Broström and just 2 off of Ericsson, I don't think it is worth it, actually. We're not in a win-in-your-in world anymore. This is a points race, and to pick up points in consistent finishes, not necessarily race wins, although obviously they're very beneficial. Again, maybe I should wait until this race is probably finished to actually say. But, I just can't see how this is going to work at the moment. He's got so much traffic to come through, and, such a big gap that, he's a lap down on Ericsson. He's definitely not going to get back to the lead again.
Yeah, he's got 5 seconds to unlap himself, and then he's got to put that lap on Ericsson. So he's got, what's that going to be, about 33 seconds in 26 laps, including overtaking. Game on. Let's see how this goes. Oliver Bohlin, he at least needs to get... The gaps are quite big, to be fair, behind sort of 5th place onwards, so he can try and get to the top 5. Let's see how that one is going to work out. Although Gunnarsson, he's about to pit as well. Forsberg, so that's a couple of positions that he's going to get. So let's see if there's any hope. I think this is Gunnarsson coming down pit road now. Let's see if there's going to be any hope of a good result. But if it stays green to the end, Ericsson has played the strategy blinder. He got to the front. He did the best sort of pit stop timing as well, and he's clearly got the pace. Yeah,
he has. And Gunnarsson, as you say, does come into the pit lane. His previous lap before that stop, by the way, was 3 seconds slower than the best lap time. But Bohlin is immediately on the pace, 27.8 from him. That's only 8 tenths quicker, though, than Ericsson. As you say, I don't think he should really be aiming for that, to be honest. I think the top 3 is pretty set, but this is the place that he could definitely aim to take. Tony Uvenant, currently in 4th place, isn't that far in front of him, although there are limited laps.
There certainly are. 23 to go. Here's Linus Broström, P9. He's 21 seconds off the lead, but he's only on 11 laps fresher tyres than the leaders. So he might make some inroads, but he's not going to get up to the win on the tyres that he has. He's not going to be quite fast enough. There might be a few positions up for grabs, though, up ahead, because he's definitely going to be faster than Erling, as he's just getting past him in towards turn 1. There's one position, and then he's got Marcus Hogman a couple of seconds up the road. So there is still be a few more positions to Broström leading the championship, but if it stands like this, Ericsson will obviously get very close to taking that championship lead.
Yeah, he certainly will. I think he would take it. Pausing because I'm not actually sure on the maths itself, but I think he would be close anyway. But let's see. Meanwhile, Hackenschott is trying to chase Bohlin, but that's going to be very, very difficult because Joel Bohlin, also one of those drivers who's just been in, along with Oliver Bohlin, of course, who is now back on the lead lap and behind Christian Gantz. So here comes Oliver Bohlin now into the top 10. He's got 10 places to make and 21 laps to do it. And so not going to get to the lead, but he could take quite a few places before the end.
Yes, and I think he will. It just depends how aggressive he wants to go. So lead lap done, and now it's all a positions game. There's going to be one diving up inside, and that is going to be job done up inside the top 10. 25 seconds, 20 laps. What is his previous pace? He is a second a lap faster. So in that one, he is going to just run out of time. So he probably can get to about P4, P5 in theory if he can keep this pace up.
Yeah, I think so. Last time round, another second. I mean, with 20 odd laps to go, he could get quite close. Certainly closer than I thought he would to the front of the race, but unfortunately, he needs a caution, really, and even then, that wouldn't help him necessarily, because likes of Ericsson and Helmbro, Hagman, Linus Broström, Dan Holmer would all have another set of tyres to go to a little bit later, so that wouldn't necessarily help. And here is Holmer, meantime. He's battling with Robert Erling, but they're both about to be battling for 9th place rather than 8th, because Bohlin is right behind them.
Oh, this is going to slow Bohlin down potentially if they're fighting. Gunnarsson getting that run up the inside, just slowing Erling down a little bit. So actually Bohlin's going to gain massively from that because Erling is going to be so slow off 4. Well, actually, he's got the run. He was slow into 3, but he's got the run off 4. Bohlin not able to make the move. Gunnarsson is a lap down. But that really hasn't worked out actually, because now he's almost like a lap behind Oliver Bohlin. Very interesting indeed, but he's got the speed at this time after pitting way too late.
Yeah. Well, he might well say, and well, this is all I could have gotten out of this race, Oliver Bohlin, and he might well be right. I think the thing that he will look back to more than his pit strategy in this race is the half spin he had on the restart for the stage 2, because imagine, I don't know how many seconds he lost in that moment and then thereon in traffic, but it's got to be many seconds. Just imagine, this race would be a whole lot more interesting and a whole lot closer if Oliver Bohlin was just a few more seconds promoted, if he hadn't have had that spin. But of course, then he would have been at the front with Ayrton, and he probably wouldn't have gone on this pit strategy anyway, so it would have been a whole different world. But I think that's the moment he'll look back on more than the strategy itself.
Oh, definitely, because he lost at least 10 seconds in the whole of that, so he'd already be in 4th place with 15 laps to go. Very, very different indeed. As there goes Gunnarsson on Broström again, a lap down. So Gunnarsson trying to find his way back, but he's still got a long way to go just even to get on the lead lap. Broström up in 6th place, missing a couple of points to Jesper Eriksson. It is going to be so close between those two, working our way in towards the final 3 nights of the season, as Ek goes into the wall to avoid this. But so 3 nights before rounds, we've got a double header coming up in a couple of weeks' time. That's going to be very exciting indeed, as Hogman diving down the inside. It's going to be for Holmer in towards turn 3 and 4. Is this going to open up the opportunity for Oliver Bohlin? Yes, it is. Bohlin should get the 12. Can he get Holmer as well? Not quite in towards turn 1, but there is another place.
Yeah, so 7th place next on the cards, but as he gets into traffic here, Bohlin, he starts to first of all, the tyre life starting to go away from him slightly, but he's also losing time making these passes, and maybe 6th place would start to be his limit because there's only 12 to go at the line. Looks down the inside, does Bohlin here, and he's only just alongside Holmer, who's nice enough to give him the inside line and probably knows what's going to happen here as he slides off of 4 again. Bohlin controls it this time, and he should be up into 7th place. Oof!
That is very close between the two. The 79 goes wide. This is Dan Holmer for 7th place, trying to hold on, but Bohlin with the fresher tyres will get the drive off too as he chases down Linus Broström. But the move is not done yet. Holmer's going to battle, fight through turns 3 and 4, and he's going to be able to get that one done just about for 7th place with 12 laps to go. And what is he going to be on now? 20 seconds as they come across the line. That is going to be too much. Race win, definitely not. But he can get Broström. He might be able to get Löwen and then maybe Tony Uvinen, which, as you say, for the championship is going to be very crucial because Ericsson, Broström and Bohlin here, as Bohlin's going to get Broström. It's just going to be a handful of points separating them basically when we get to the end of this race.
Yeah, it will be. Not quite, sort of almost as if this race never happened, but pretty close by the end, as Bohlin is starting to really get embedded within this. Broström obviously just been passed by him. Bohlin should get clear as a result, but the momentum that Broström loses might well just help Dan Holmer, and this is going to further give credit to the guesses that we're making that Broström might well lose his championship lead at the end of today. He had good qualifying speed. He qualified very well in, what was it, 3rd place, but he's just not had the race pace here tonight. We thought he was conserving tyres early, but it's clear that wasn't the case.
Maybe he still is conserving tyres, but he doesn't need to at this point. Yeah, I think just not the speed that he would have wanted compared to his teammate Ericsson and Bohlin, who definitely look to be two of the fastest drivers out there on the circuit today. Bit of a shame for Broström after winning that previous race. We're inside the final 10 laps now, and Bohlin 19 seconds off the lead. He's going to have to do a bit of a job to catch down Löwen. What is the... he was only half a second on that previous lap. I tell you what, 5th place might be the maximum for Bohlin.
Yeah, I think it will be. Now that those tyres are starting to just fall away a little bit, I think it is. So that might be a little bit disappointing to him, but again, it's that it's not a strategy call. It's that spin he had on the restart that is really what's undone him here, unfortunately, and that is a real shame because he clearly has got some decent speed around here. Just 7 laps to go now. Ericsson closing in on a victory here, and it feels anyway like it's been a little bit of a while since he's had a properly good run in one of these races and a properly good season really strung together. He's certainly starting to get the starts of one now. 4th at the start of the day. He'll be moving ahead of Bohlin and getting a lot closer to Ericsson as well, a lot closer to Broström. He's going to be a proper contender for this championship this time round.
I mean, you're true. I was just looking back at last season. He only won one race, the first round of the season at Auto Club. And yeah, beyond that, didn't get another race victory. And that was back in August of 2024. So that was 15 months ago. Ericsson got his last victory in this series. So it's not like he's, bad in terms of the overall standings. He did come 3rd last season, but just not enough in terms of getting those race victories. And with 5 to go, this is looking a lot like it. And of course, as well, he is a champion of this category, and he's showing just why. He's done that before. Back in season 3 in 2021, he was the champion, and now he's going for another shot. He's struggling in the first couple of races, but I definitely think we're going to be seeing this because, to be honest, in terms of the points as well, I haven't really spoken about him all day. He's going to be up there gaining points as well. So it's going to be, something like 10 points separating the 4 drivers of Ericsson, Bohlin and Broström.
Yeah, probably less than 10 points, which is an absolutely mouth-watering prospect. For a short season like this, I absolutely support the idea of not using playoffs. I did enjoy the long season that we had over the course of 24 and 25 with a short little playoffs towards the end. And when you've got a nearly 20 race calendar, I absolutely understand the need for a playoffs because otherwise Jesper Ericsson would have had the championship won with about 3 races to go. in the end, he won the championship anyway. And it was an exciting finale with Eric Blix. But in a short season like this, we don't need playoffs. We can just go through with points, and it's been absolutely fascinating so far. But as you say, to have those 4 separated by less than 10 will be very, very exciting. Next in line, by the way, if you're wondering, Henrik Lindhoff isn't here today, so he will drop a long way back in points. Tony Juvonen won't be that far back, although probably over 30 points behind. Lars Boker's had a pretty difficult day, obviously, and Robert Erling, they're tied for 7th. So they will start to fall a little bit further back. I think the gap from 4th to 5th could be as much as 20 points or more at the end of today, signalling that it is very much a front 4 who are fighting for the title this season.
And one of the drivers is Bohlin, who's getting close to Leuven. So I think P5 is going to be up for grabs with 2 to go here at Phoenix, Arizona. The Beijer Byggmaterial 300 is coming to a close. Ericsson is now onto the final lap, and we are seeing some final moves for Hogman around the outside of Erling. We're seeing Gantz trying to slide his way through as well. Tyres are definitely not the hot prospect for these drivers, and they're actually getting the race lead of Ericsson coming up behind them towards the final corner. Ericsson in the 24, he's dominated on pace today. He's dominated on the strategy with 3 wide ahead of the leader. Now as we come across the line, Ericsson is going to be taking his first race victory of the season, and another one for Polski Logistics, who go 4 for 4 with each of their drivers getting a victory at the start of this season. Ericsson will be in 2nd place. Helmbro will be 3rd. Oliver Bohlin up the inside of the final corner, trying to get the run to the line, and as he does so, he spins for the 2nd time today, coming through the dogleg. Fortunately, it's after the checkered flag, but Leuven just beats him to the line. It's 6th place for Bohlin.
Yeah, and the championship contenders all finishing inside the top 8 should be separated by about 10 points collectively at the end of today. But 4 different winners in 4 rounds. Ayrton adds to that, and that's a fantastic thing for this season. So he will celebrate here from Phoenix. It's been a dominant drive, especially in that later portion of the race. Of course, he could have been undone by a late caution, but in the end, there wasn't one. And much like last season in June, we had a very long green flag run. On this occasion, about 100 laps until the finish after a, caution, not caution-filled first stage, but certainly had a few in that first stage, and a long green flag run to the end. But it sets up a brilliant second half of the season now, with Ayrton on the board now as well.
And as you say, that closes the first half of the season. 4 rounds done and 4 to go. Round 4 was won by Alex Ayrton for Polski Logistics. Ericsson following up in behind, with Peter Helmbro getting the podium. So that is a great result for the 77 as well, who has some up and down results in this category, but finally getting another podium to his name. Juvonen, continuing his strong start to the season, is in 4th place with Leuven as well for Hexagon Nation. Strong result from them in the Toyota in P number 5. Oliver Bohlin, a bit of a bad strategy in the end. 17 seconds off the lead. I mean, he was nowhere near getting that time back in the end. Dan Holmer in 7th place. Linus Broström didn't have the pace today in 8th. Bohlin and Gantz round out the top 10. And Ayrton also getting the fastest lap point on 140. Erling and Hogman, they are battling to the line. The final drivers on the lead lap, but Erling just came out on top. And then drivers a lap down. We got Schott, Kjellberg, Kenneth Tier. Not a strong race for him today. Didn't really speak about him much at all. Broström, Gunnarsson with a bit disappointing result in the end. And then Forsberg, the final driver on the lead lap. Or 1 lap down, I should say. Stiller from the back got to P19, and then Eck, who unfortunately was letting drivers through for most of the day. Lundberg, Skoglund, Forsland and Bulka were the final drivers, and the 24 attending today's race here at Phoenix. And we'll jump straight into the interviews, and we will get a word with Alex, the driver of the number 24 for Polski Logistics. What a race that was for you in the end. We knew after Charlotte, everyone was saying you were the favourite for today's race, and to be honest, you proved them right once again. You must love it here at Phoenix.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the track, to be honest. And, it felt great being back in victory lane after, I think it's 2 races now where I haven't won. So it's been a while. But, it felt great to win.
Absolutely. It was August of last year, 15 months ago, that you took your last victory at Auto Club. So that must feel really good. But not just for you, but for your team. That is 4 victories in a row for Polski Logistics and 4 different drivers. I mean, you've really got this car sorted out.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? 4 wins in 4 races with 4 drivers, as you say. We've got a really good team, and we work well together. We practice, in the weeks running up to the race, and share, all the information that we have with each other. And it obviously shows us we've, been able to win with all 4 drivers.
Yeah, it's looking very good for you. You're really back in the championship hunt now. Not that you are really out of it anyway, but it's closed up. It's going to be something like 10 points covering you top 4 drivers with Ericsson, Broström and Bohlin. So what do you think you can do? 4 races done, 4 to go. Is there anything to separate you, or is it all about executing these races like you did today?
Yeah, it probably is, as you say, just to execute as well as possible. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the standings after today, but my strategy worked out quite well in the first stage, taking tires there at the caution midway through the first stage. So I got 9 stage points, I think, which will help me in the standings there. But we'll see about the tracks coming up. We got doubleheader at Iowa next, and which I think is a decent track for me. We'll see. And then we got Pocono, which is far from a good track for me. And then we finish off at Vegas, which should be a decent track, I think. So we'll see.
And today, just wanted to ask you, it's about the mid part of the race. You had Oliver, your teammate, battling you for the stage, but you were stuck behind, I think it was Forslund in the 27. How difficult was that situation?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly as you say. I was stuck behind. I let the 27 go, even though it was 10 laps down, but he was obviously faster at that point. And then he, I wasn't able to really pass him there cleanly without, while trying to keep Oliver behind me. And in the end, I ended up in a bad situation, and Oliver got past on the last lap, or the second to last lap there. But I got my points out of it, so yeah, it was okay in the end.
Yeah, that's certainly a good result from you today. So congratulations. First victory in over a year, and hopefully we'll speak to you next time as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, nice. And then we will bring in Jesper Eriksson of the number 37 for SimRace Sweden. A very strong race for you once again, especially the first part of the race where it was very, normal before all of the cautions came into it. You were leading, you managed to overtake Eunice. You had a lot of speed there in that first opening part of the race.
I did, sure, but I noticed that my tires got killed because of it. I forgot to click the tires for, I think it was the first caution, so I never took the tires.
Yes.
Which kind of got me the bad ribbon, and yeah, I had when stage caution came out, I got a puncture right rear, so I was just lucky not to become furthermore down, but so it was just my stupidity, which was most of it, but it worked out, I guess.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question. Like, what happened in that middle part? Because you had a bit of a different pit stop, but that makes sense, not taking the tires. So you struggled there in that second half of the race. But as we went through the caution and then we got to the final round of pit stops, you had some great pace. Was there anything you could do to chase down Alex, though? Was he just a little bit too fast? Or do you think you had a couple of seconds left in you?
No, he's too fast here. There's nothing I could have done, really. I had my pace. Now towards the end, I did kill my tires, just try to catch up. I see now 24% right rear, so I was loose. So that was my pace. Alex, this is Alex track, like I said the last 2 weeks. So especially in this car, it's just he's so fast here, and it definitely deserved this win today. So congrats to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And now for the championship, halfway done. You've brought yourself right back into contention after a difficult first couple of races. What do you think? Well, first of all, next we've got the doubleheader at Iowa. What do you think you can do there?
Just stay in the top 5, hopefully get a victory. I think I won last season in Xfinity. I don't know, but it's not really a track for me, especially in these cars. I struggle there. I'm just gonna aim for 2 top 5s, and I'm feeling quite confident because the last seasons when we had the playoffs, I think I won every regular season. So when it comes to points, I'm feeling quite confident to just get as much as possible, stay up front, and hopefully get a win. I want to win. I want to chase 40 total wins in the SEL. I'm 3 wins away, so we'll see. Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah, 4 races, so it's still an opportunity.
What? 4?
Yes, 4 races left this season. You did win the opening race at Iowa, so maybe last season, so maybe that is going to be a good omen. So certainly will be an interesting one for you. So yeah, congratulations on your second place today, and we'll speak to you next time.
See you guys.
And then lastly, we'll get a word with Linus in the number 71, as unfortunately Peter's not able to join us in the commentary booth. But for Linus, a difficult race for you out there. The 71 seemingly not quite as fast as you were a couple of weeks ago. What was going on there out on the track?
Well, first of all, I wasn't fast a couple of weeks ago either. I was just lucky and extremely fuel efficient. But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, we had decent pace, running top 5, top 10, and then the different strategies came into play, and you got to think about the tires, and you don't know until you go into the pits how much you wore out your tires. So you just got to be careful and try and play it around the people around you. And I think it was like the second car on all tires at the end of the stage to get a point. And then from there on out, I was just trying to preserve my tires again, you know, hoping for a caution in the end. But I don't know, just an average race. P8 is not quite where I want it to be. I was hoping to keep my top 5 streak alive, but P8 is still good. But yeah, I don't know. Most importantly, my team. 4 races, 4 wins for 4 different drivers. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking good for the Constructors' Championship. You're working so well together. We go to Iowa next as well. You won the second race there last year. So, I mean, do you think you're going to be able to get 8 out of 8 for the team? That'll be quite something.
Wow, 8. Yeah, maybe. Probably not. I mean, it's the field this year is so competitive. Just look at like the mix of guys in the top 10 from every single race. It's just that we managed to be the top spot every time, but Iowa is going to be... The first race is going to be pretty straightforward with the stage and everything. People might do one stop because you only have 1 extra set of tires there as well. But then the second race, seeing the amount of drivers tonight, is pretty much going to be a full invert. And it's a 50-minute timed race, so with a couple of cautions, there's not going to be that many laps and that much time to get up through the field. So that's going to be really hard to get a double there. But Jesper is going to get a win at some point. And Jonason showed great pace today as well early on. I'm not sure what happened in the end. There's so many drivers who are able to get a win and capable of winning in this series. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be good fun. So yeah, I mean, I guess congratulations for your team at least to getting another win, and hopefully we'll see you back in victory lane later this season.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for the broadcast.
No worries. So we wrap it up here from Phoenix. That was certainly a whole load of fun out there in terms of the strategies, but a difficult one for the drivers in the hot conditions. And now, in a couple of weeks, we go to Iowa. We go for a double header, and it is going to be, as Lena said, 2 50-minute races, hopefully under the lights as well. But that'll be in 2 weeks' time, and it'll be myself and Yoda Leary joining me once again. It's been Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast, as we saw Aronson getting another victory at Phoenix, his 4th at this track in this series. He's certainly the best driver at Phoenix, but who will be best when we get to Iowa in a couple of weeks' time? And don't forget, the road course series comes back next week as well. We're getting close to the end of the season. We go to the Red Bull Ring there for the penultimate round of the season. So until then, we'll wish you a very warm goodbye.